This video is for lesson 2.3, which is about comparing relationships. Our essential question is, how do the y-intercept and coefficient of an equation impact a relationship? Let's talk first about some vocabulary. First, we have coefficient. This is a word we've heard before, but it's the number that's being multiplied by a variable in an equation. We're going to identify the coefficient as the number that's being multiplied by the independent variable, which is typically going forward going to be x. So some other words we have for coefficient are constant rate of change or slope, as they're also the numbers that are being multiplied by the independent variable. In an equation, we're going to represent slope or the coefficient by the letter m, and we'll look at that in a minute. Another new term is y-intercept, and this is the point where the graph crosses the y-axis. We've heard this before, called the starting value. The ordered pair of the y-intercept will always have an x value of 0, so the ordered pair will look like 0, comma, whatever the y value is. And we're going to represent the y-intercept by the letter b in slope-intercept form, which we'll look at right now. Slope-intercept form is just another way to write linear equations, like the doing chores is smart form. From the slope-intercept form, we can easily find the slope and the y-intercept of a graph. That's why we call it the slope-intercept form, because it gives us those two things very easily. Slope-intercept form is written in the form of y equals mx plus b, where m and x are multiplied. So here's where I said earlier, different words are going to mean different letters. The y is still the dependent variable that has not changed. The m now is the slope, which we've also called the croc or the coefficient. The x is the independent variable, which has not changed. And the b is the y-intercept or the starting value. So you can imagine we used to have d equals ci plus s for doing chores is smart. Dependent variable equals constant rate of change times independent variable plus the starting value. Now we have y equals mx plus b. Same thing. Dependent equals slope times independent variable plus y-intercept. So we've just changed some of the wording and replaced the variables that represent those things with the more consistent mathematical variables. One or two new things to talk about here. The solution of an equation, which we have already dealt with this year, is an ordered pair that makes the equation true. And we would found this by substituting the values for the independent and dependent variables using the RSS process that we looked at the beginning of the year. So here are three questions. Take a look at these. They all deal with the equation y equals x plus 7. You don't need to enter these online anywhere, but maybe jot down the answers and pause the video. And when you've got them down, continue and you can see the answers. First one, is 0, 10 a solution? Well, we would plug 0 in for x, 10 in for y, so we'd have 10 equals 0 plus 7. 10 is not equal to 7, so that is not a solution. Second one, is 2, 9 a solution? We would plug 9 in for y, 2 in for x, and we get 9 equals 2. Since that's true, that is a solution. Lastly, what would x be if x comma 48 is a solution? So we're going to substitute 48 in for y and solve for x. So in this case, we'd have 48 equals x plus 7. In order to solve that, we would subtract 48 minus 7, and we would get 41. Therefore, x equals 41. That's simply solving equations like we did earlier in the year. This should be a review. All right, here is a little chart just for some practice. I'd like you to copy this chart into your notes and fill this out, and this will be our launching point for our next class period.